Sudden change of weather this afternoon catches some residents off guard. G7 statement fails to mention one China policy and China issues strong objection. Mass protests in South Korea by supporters and opponents of Yoon Suk-yeol. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The observatory issued the amber rainstorm warning signal at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Weather authorities also received reports of hail in Taipo in the afternoon. The Mo Seng-ai reports.
A strong gust of wind and the central promenade. Many people were unprepared for the sudden change of weather as they ran to take shelter. The sea became slightly choppy. In Kowloon Tong, rain was heavy. Some shared an umbrella, while others decided to shelter for a bit. But not everyone was concerned by the rain. The observatory says a cold front is moving across the coast of Guangdong. Under the effect of heavy showers and severe squally thunderstorms, roughly 20 millimeters of rainfall were recorded in different places across the city. Weather authorities said hail was reported in Taipo. This woman said she did not see any hail, but the heavy rain and wind caught her off guard. During the rainstorm, a construction worker was trapped inside a suspended working platform. At 4:35 p.m., the observatory cancelled the amber rainstorm warning signal. After the rain, most districts recorded a temperature of just above 20 degrees Celsius, a 5 to 6 degrees drop compared to Saturday's maximum temperature. Looking ahead, the mercury will drop further on Saturday night, reaching 15 degrees on Sunday morning. Residents should expect warmer weather by the end of next week. Meanwhile, Shenzhen authorities issued their first yellow rainstorm and thunderstorm warning amid the adverse weather. A hailstorm also hit Yangjiang City in Guangdong. Number 9, TVB News.
Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun today said adjustments to the $2 fare concession scheme can save the government about $680 million a year. Under the changes, senior citizens aged 60 or above will be charged 20% of the cost of a ride if the journey is valued at more than $10. The Zhouyu card's real name system has now been enforced for 3 months. And Chris Sun, Secretary for Labor and Welfare, said during the period, 34% of senior citizens who took long-haul journeys were aged between 60 and 64. Meanwhile, people aged 65 or above who are long-haul riders accounted for 17% of those who took long-haul journeys. Responding to suggestions that the government should change the policy to target the 60 to 64 age group, Sun said government policy should treat everyone equally. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said artificial intelligence is a key industry in Hong Kong. Authorities will invite more technology companies to collaborate with local schools by offering more training. The finance chief joined in with an educational program by Tencent, which announced the establishment of the We Tech Academy in Hong Kong. The academy will distribute free programming and AI learning tools, online programs, and internship opportunities to help nurture young AI talent. In a speech, the financial secretary said artificial intelligence is core to boosting new quality productive forces. He says some technology entrepreneurs will be invited to schools to share their experiences, including how to start a business. Meanwhile, they will also be welcome to provide schools with resources on programming and AI learning so that students can get hands-on experience. A joint statement issued by foreign ministers at the conclusion of the Group of 7 meeting portrayed a tougher stance on China and made no mention of pursuing a one China policy. The Chinese embassy in Canada said the statement was filled with sinister anti-China intentions and lodged stern representations with Ottawa. The G7 diplomats also agreed on a joint statement expressing support for Ukraine and a U.S. ceasefire proposal. Now Speaker Rim with more.
In November, a statement released by G7 foreign ministers after a meeting in Italy said there was no change in the bloc's position on the One China policy. But no such mention of the One China policy, this time in Namalbi, Quebec, Canada. Neither did it reference constructive and stable relations with China, nor the importance of direct engagement to express concerns and manage differences. Instead, the statement criticized Chinese coercion towards Taiwan and said the G7 ministers encouraged a peaceful resolution of cross-strait relations while opposing unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force. The Chinese embassy in Canada said the G7 statement grossly interfered in China's internal affairs and blatantly smeared China. It added that the statement is filled with arrogance, prejudice and malicious intentions to suppress and attack China. The embassy said Taiwan is an inalienable part of China and Beijing will not tolerate any external interference. The top diplomats from the US, Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan went into the meetings under a cloud after US President Donald Trump imposed massive tariffs that threatened to divide the allies. In recent weeks, Trump also appeared to be leaning towards Russia in his 3-year war with Ukraine. But the group were able to rally around Trump's peace plan for Ukraine, which Moscow says must fulfill certain conditions before they can agree to it.
I've never heard President Trump say that Russia has a right to take all of Ukraine and do whatever they want there. That is separate from the issue we face today, and that is that as it stands today, there is a war going on that has no military solution to it. Neither Russia nor Ukraine can achieve its maximalist military aims. The only way to end this war is through a process of negotiation.
All G7 countries are affected by US tariffs, none more so than host Canada, which faces 25% levies on steel and aluminium. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly spoke to Rubio, saying they didn't discuss Trump's vision to make Canada the 51st US state.
Of course, Canada's sovereignty is not up for debate, and we had a long conversation on tariffs and trade. No, it's not a joke. It's not. This is a very serious threat. We've seen that elsewhere in the world. Well, you just don't mess up with our sovereignty.
Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Supporters and opponents of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol held large-scale rallies in central Seoul today. Danny Rout has details.
The streets of Seoul were packed with protesters on Saturday. The demonstrations come after South Korea's acting president Choi Sang-mok called for the nation to respect and accept any decision ahead of a constitutional court's ruling on the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol over his short-lived martial law order. Pro-Yoon protesters criticized South Korea's opposition party for alleged abuse of its power in parliament and demanded his immediate reinstatement. Some said the president was being wrongfully impeached for declaring martial law in response to what they called the opposition party's unconstitutional legislative actions. An anti-Yoon rally, which was held a few hours after the pro-Yoon rally, was filled with chants demanding the immediate removal of Yoon from office. The protesters said they were certain South Korea's constitutional court would terminate Yoon's presidential power, calling him incompetent and saying they believe those who had voted for him are regretting their choices. The Constitutional Court has not yet revealed when they will announce the verdict. However, South Korean media outlets have been reporting it will be announced as soon as next week. Dan Harrell, TV News.
And still ahead, Mark Carney is sworn in as Canada's new Prime Minister. AI robots visits a Hong Kong shopping mall. Welcome back. Former Governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, was sworn in as Canada's new Prime Minister on Friday. Carney enters the fray at a chaotic time, with Ottawa embroiled in a trade war with U.S. President Donald Trump, who has also talked about making Canada the 51st U.S. state. Nasri Karim with more.
For the first time in 9 years and 24th overall, a new Canadian Prime Minister is being sworn in.
I, Mark Carney, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Prime Minister.
The 59-year-old is the first Prime Minister who is without an established political career, but his country is relying on his experience and skills in economics and finance as the former Canadian British Central Bank chief to take on Donald Trump and his tariffs. He replaces Justin Trudeau, who resigned in January but remained in power until the ruling Liberal Party chose a new leader. Carney said he was ready to meet Trump if the US leader shows respect for Canadian sovereignty, hoping to take a common approach on trade.
I look forward to speaking with President Trump. Just to be clear, we respect the United States. We respect President Trump. President Trump has put some very important issues at the top of his agenda. We understand the importance President Trump places on American workers and American jobs. We want him and his administration to understand the importance we put on Canadian workers and Canadian jobs. And we will look for avenues to work together so that both objectives are met.
Trump put 25% tariffs on Canada's steel and aluminium, and is threatening sweeping tariffs on all Canadian products on April 2nd. The surge in Canadian nationalism has bolstered the Liberal Party's chances in a parliamentary election expected within days or weeks. Pierre Poilievre, leader of the opposition Conservative Party, congratulated Carney but also urged Canadians not to give the Liberals a fourth mandate, saying nothing has changed from Trudeau's time.
Today, Liberals are trying to trick Canadians into electing them for a fourth term in power with a cabinet that is 87% the same as Trudeau's cabinet. 100% of today's Liberal cabinet were in Justin Trudeau's Liberal caucus. These same Liberal MPs voted to hike the carbon tax, double the debt, double food bank lineups, and double housing costs.
Nazri Karim, TVB News.
A shopping mall in Kwun Tong introduced AI robots to give performances and interact with customers. A representative of the mall said she hopes the AI robots can enhance the customer's shopping experience. Samantha Lee takes a closer look.
Shoppers retreated to something you don't see in a shopping mall every day. A dance featuring more than 50 mini robots, which were developed by mainland technology companies. Each robot is 40 centimeters tall and equipped with advanced computer server. They were able to perform difficult movements. Bending backwards is no problem. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of a shopping mall in Kwun Tong, an AI robot dancing show will be performed in the mall at different time slots during this weekend. Two of these AI humanoids were developed by Unitree Robotics and have made a name after performing in the Spring Festival Gala. Meanwhile, over 100 AI robots performing various functions demonstrated numerous kinds of activities, such as playing football and doing push-up. In the long run, the shopping mall is planning to deploy these two AI robots, which were developed by a technology company in Hangzhou, to be the service ambassador and pop-up manager respectively in shops. One of them debuted by sending out flowers to the public. Thank you. This AI robot will appear in different stores in this mall during this weekend to help residents with their shopping.
They can name the customer in person and also greet them with a special technology, make them feel more welcome, and talk with them in the same language, because they can adjust either in Putonghua or in English or in other language.
Maureen Fong, executive director of Sun Hong Kai Properties, also noted she has noticed more tourists from all over the world came to Hong Kong recently. She said more AI robots will be deployed to the cruise terminal to welcome passengers. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The government's Belt and Road Office had earlier organized a forum under the theme Multinational Supply Chain Management for members of the International Trade and Infrastructure Project, where they also showed interest in what Hong Kong has to offer. Timothy Lee reports.
The Consuls General of Turkey and Kazakhstan held the new opportunities provided by Belt and Road Initiative at an international supply chain management themed forum organized by the government's Belt and Road Office. According to media reports, Turkey, often referred to as the bridge connecting Asia and Europe, could receive Chinese financial support of up to $60 billion in upgrading its rail network. The Consul General of Turkey emphasized how the development of the Belt and Road Initiative coincided with this nation's post-Cold War intention to foster large-scale cross-country ties between Europe and Asia.
After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, my government came up with an idea that there should be a large-scale connectivity project that connects West and East through Eurasia. Almost 2 decades later, His Excellency Xi Jinping came up with a Belt One Road project. We had a chance to align the Middle Corridor project of Turkey and the Belt and Road Initiative of China in the year 2015.
This as the Kazakh Consul General encouraged Hong Kong businesses to follow the example of mainland Chinese companies and set up bases in the Central Asian country.
If we speak in Hong Kong, we have a lot of options. For example, Kazakhstan is rich in mineral resources, in agricultural resources, in natural resources. Chinese enterprises and business launched joint factories or projects in Kazakhstan. We have successful results. In this case, Hong Kong enterprises can follow the Chinese brothers, go to Kazakhstan.
The organizer of the event, Commissioner for Belt and Road Nicholas Ho, said Hong Kong is the ideal location as a supply chain management center.
Hong Kong unique economic status and advantages made us the ideal headquarter economy around the world. So supply chain management center in a way is the command center of every enterprises that chooses to do global business that involves global supply chain issues. So Hong Kong is the ideal hub as a command center because we have the right professional services, we have the right legal financial regime.
Having stressed the importance of international economic and cultural connectivity between member nations and territories of the Belt and Road Initiative, the Consuls General of Turkey and Kazakhstan have pointed out the need for more direct flights between Hong Kong and their countries to allow residents to look at local developments with their very own eyes. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.